Man has hunted since the beginning of time. What began with crude weapons and animal images scrawled on cave walls has developed into a multi-million-dollar industry. From the Tilton Hiltons to the mansions in the marsh, we hunt and we cook. Everything from rabbits and raccoons to deer and ducks, while learning about the passion of sportsmen through the ages. Man's love affair with hunting is really not about the kill, but how to prepare a sumptuous wild game banquet after the hunt. Now get that camouflage apron and join me, Chef John Folse, for another Taste of Louisiana.
Funding for After the Hunt with Chef John Folse is brought to you by the Baton Rouge Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Day is dawning on the Mississippi River and the sun is shining on Baton Rouge. Attractions, shopping, food, and Southern hospitality you know and love. Go BR and go brighter. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting. Our mission is to tell Louisiana's story to the world. And by the Louisiana Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. Vacation planning guides are available at louisianatravel.com. You wait all year for your vacation. Don't sleep through it.
Smithfield Fair right there. Let's give them a big hand, huh? Great guys, thank you. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me in Sportsman's Paradise for yet another edition of A Taste of Louisiana. I'm thrilled to have all of you here in the audience with us today, and also all of you across the United States who took the time to be here in Louisiana with us today. We appreciate you so much. Our kitchen musician stirring the pot with me today, Smithfield Fair. Let's give them another hand, huh? Did I tell y'all? Did I tell you how much I love you? Huh? Y'all really fantastic. Huh?
You too, John.
Y'all have great pheasant music. That's what I like about you. I'm cooking some pheasant today. Pheasant music. When I think of pheasant music, I think of Smithfield Fair. Huh? Y'all, while early hunters fasted before the hunt and avoided smoke so game couldn't smell them, today's hunters dress in everything from scent-eliminating attire to weatherproof gear. Camouflage clothing not only helps you blend into the surrounding environment, but also eliminates sound, keeps you warm when it's cold, wicks away sweat when it's hot. Camouflage clothing has come a long way, baby, as you'll see next. Take a look at this. Unlike today's sportsmen who dress for the hunt in custom-made, scent elimination, all-weather gear, early hunters went into the woods either nude or wrapped in animal hides for warmth. Without clothes, they could silently approach their prey. Covered with animal skins, they blended into the herd for more effective attacks.
The Indians were probably the masters at camouflage, and they would try to, their weapons weren't as good as ours, so they'd have to get real close to the animals.
As man evolved, hunting became less about obtaining food for survival and much more about the sport. Hunting clothes of the 12th and 13th centuries were made of fine materials. Hunters wore loose belted tunics and full wool breeches. Belts were necessary because sheaths were attached to carry the hunter's knife. His hunting horn was strapped around his neck. Toward the late Middle Ages, hunting became associated with royalty, and hunting apparel displayed the economic status and position of the hunters and served little purpose at all in the hunt. Commoners wore plain clothes and hunted on foot, while upper class rode horseback in their fancy riding coats and pants. Hunting and warfare have been kindred spirits since antiquity. Before World War I, soldiers wore bright clothing in combat. However, during World War II, British and German soldiers began to dye their uniforms khaki and field gray to camouflage themselves from the enemy. In 1915, a French soldier and artist invented camouflage.
This is one of the early military camo patterns. Back in the mid to late 60s, as a young person, If you had a set of Camouflage and the old military camo, you were really a cut above everyone else because it was very rare. Most people still hunted in plaid shirts and blue jeans.
During the late 1970s and mid-80s, the founders of tree bark, mossy oak, and realtree became the leaders of the camouflage revolution and changed completely when, where, and how one hunted.
There never had really been a design pattern until the 80s when Jim Crumley came out with the tree bark pattern.
About the same time, Toxie Hayes gathered sticks and leaves from his favorite hunting spots, had a fabric made from the design, and founded Mossy Oak.
Was that Toxie would take a big swatch of cloth and put it on the ground, and several people would get around him with leaves and sticks and stems, and he would crawl up on a big tall ladder and look down over it, and they would strategically place these things and take Polaroid pictures of it, and they would keep moving it around until it gave them the camoing effect they were looking for.
His first realistic camouflage pattern was called Bottomland.
I've oftentimes pick at my wife about I've got more money invested in what I'm wearing hunting than I do when I go to church.
Fashionable, well-designed hunting clothes not only gives the hunter protection and comfort, but gives a whole new meaning to the phrase, dress to kill. All right, okay, hey, there you go, good crowd. Smithfield Fair, thank y'all so much. Well, I tell you, you're in a good mood today. Did you hear we're doing pheasant on the glass? Huh? I'm not. That's what we do to entice people to come in. Y'all, I want you to take a look at my little rotisserie. How do you like this? Yeah. I think everybody, if you don't have one of these, I'm the local distributor. So this is about 1750. This is a clock wound. Let me see if I can lift this up for you so you can see. Once watches and clocks became automated many years ago, they started to put them into use in a lot of different cooking apparatuses like this. Imagine sitting in front of a fireplace kind of turning the chain of the rotisserie, which was done by people for centuries, and then all of a sudden they developed all of this, and it became very comfortable to cook in front of the hot coals of the fire. So I wanted you to see this because this is a special piece from our collection. By the way, we don't have pheasant in Louisiana, but we do go to camps where they bring in pheasant and chucker and Yvette, like you and I were talking about one day, that these are animals that are brought in and then pen raised and then let out for the hunters. That was a great, we're going to talk about that a little bit more because we cooked some a while ago. Y'all, a couple of great friends with me on the kitchen table today. First of all, Jim Brown with Bowie Outfitters and David Reynerson right next to him, right there. The two of them, huh? And then we have Arthur Craggs with a Deep South Pottery, as well as Yvette Gaudin with Palo Alto Rod and Gun and Rod Club, one of my favorite places in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Arthur, thank you so much for being here all the way from, I guess, Jackson, Mississippi, huh?
That's right.
All right, close to Jackson. I've never heard any Southerner with that accent. Say that again.
I said that's right. You're also right, I'm not a Southerner.
He's from Southern England, I think, maybe. But anyway, nice to have you all with us. He's the maker of all this gorgeous pottery I have here. You just wait till you see this. Y'all going to be jealous, I guarantee. You're going to be you're going to be jealous, I'm telling you in advance. Fact is, this platter, if you look at it right here, comes from these wonderful folks right there, and we're going to talk about all of this in a minute. But take a look at this platter here, because I'm doing pheasant soup. Yeah. See that? Now, I'm going to do a pheasant and wild rice soup. What do you think, huh? Yeah, all right. Louisiana, yep. Louisiana is a rice state. Louisiana is a rice state, and we do a lot of rice. But, of course, the Native American wild rice, which many people say are not rice at all, I disagree. It's got wonderful flavor. It's picked in the marshes and grasses of the north. But we have some wonderful wild rice varieties that people are now cooking in Louisiana. And in my pot here, before I actually throw my pheasant in, I'm going to throw a little bit of the wild rice down into my dark brown roux. Now, all of you know from watching the show that roux is equal parts of oil and flour cooked to different degrees of darkness, because the darker, the more earthy flavor, the more nutty flavor to the roux. The lighter, kind of like a white sauce. You know, you can make a nice white sauce with it. So I have my, do you smell that? Do you smell that roux? You can smell a roux right away. When we used to go walking down the lane as youngsters in St. James Parish, where I grew up, we would stop at every house on the highway and we'd do, oh, they making a gumbo. Let's go in, huh? Oh, yeah, good roux. Now I'm going to throw the pheasant, the meat of the pheasant. Look how nice and white this is. Can you see that? Look how gorgeous that is. Isn't that beautiful? Huh? Look at that. Gorgeous. You can actually go to the store and maybe get a chicken and chop it up and tell your friends you're cooking pheasant. Huh? It won't know any different, but I'm really cooking pheasant today. So I'm going to throw it down into the pot as well. Now, talking about camouflage, y'all. Now, Jim, I know you work for Mossy Oak, which is the outfit I'm wearing today, right?
Right.
And Mossy Oak was definitely one of the leaders. And did they come out with new patterns? You worked on patterns for quite a while, didn't you?
Well, I worked with Toxie with the company, yes, and
The founder of it.
Right, and they do come out with patterns ever so often, especially in the early years when we didn't really know what we were doing in the business, and so you would develop something, and then you would try to improve on it. It's kind of like no one can build a better mousetrap until someone builds a mousetrap.
Right.
And so it kind of evolved and developed from, like I told you earlier, Toxie putting a large swatch of cloth on the ground and strategically placing sticks and leaves until the first computer-generated pattern, which was breakup.
Now, David, Bowie Outfitters, I mean, y'all, the array of camouflage and hunting apparel in your store is just absolutely incredible. And I guess that's typical as so many great sporting goods store out there. What is it that people are looking for when they go into a store? Let's say I'm a first-time shopper going in. I don't know a thing about camouflage, what I'm going to get. How do you lead them in the direction? Because I'm in deer today, but I'm cooking birds. You see what I mean? Yeah. I needed David's help yesterday. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm going to throw some onion celery. You see my wild rice popping here? You see it? I'm going to throw in. That's the pot telling me throw something in here, y'all. So I'm throwing in my onion, celery, bell pepper. Hey, you ready for garlic? I got a lot of it, huh? Oh yeah. Look, I don't care what kind of camouflage you're wearing. This will get through. Garlic will get through, huh? I think. Anyway, so I have the onion, celery, bell pepper, garlic going in. I'm going to throw some stock in here. Tell me, walk me through my first trip into a store for camouflage.
First thing we'd want to do is know what kind of hunt you're doing. See, I'm in duck hunting camo today.
Right.
And so me and you should have traded, I reckon. But first thing you find out what kind of hunting you're doing.
Right.
And, it's all about increasing your chances of getting close to the game. Just like that pheasant right there has his camouflage on. What we want to do is get as close as we can. And, in duck hunting, you got the ducks flying over you, so they're looking down on you. And so you got to have a certain pattern that's going to match the water and the surrounding terrain. And then if you're deer hunting, like the pattern you have on right there, is great for deer hunting because you're going to mostly be in a tree. You're going to be in a tree stand, and deer are going to be looking up at you, so you want some depth to it, like what you've got there.
And I guess it's all about what you want to spend, too. I guess you can spend whatever you want. It's all about, at the end of the day, how thick is the wallet, right?
That's exactly right. And you know what's neat about it in our business is there's something new every year.
Yeah.
And the hunters want to have the newest thing, and
see that?
Whatever can increase their chances the most, So.
Well, hey, look, y'all have a beautiful operation over there, and I appreciate every time I walk into your store, there's really wonderful folks there. People hang out in these stores, too, because a lot of people walk into the stores and they say, I wish I had that, and they just stare at the rack, and they lick their lips. Maybe next year, maybe for Christmas, I'll get it, huh?
We do that.
Y'all do that yourself. Okay, y'all, take a look at how beautiful my stock is in the soup. Do you see that? Look, I had a duck. See that roux with the pheasant? Look at those pretty colors. I'm going to add heavy whipping cream to it, like that. And I'm going to let this cook for about 30, 40 minutes because it takes a while to tenderize the pheasant, naturally, depending on the age of it. I want you to look at it. I have one of my beautiful Deep South Pottery soup tureens with the After the Hunt logo. I know you wish you had one of these. You're sitting here licking your lips right now. I know what you're doing. Take a look at the soup right here. I'm going to stir that up. Look at that, huh? Look at all the, look at that pheasant. Just really beautiful. And look, it's all, we're going to talk about why these terrines are important to serve something in, because it makes the food even more special. Y'all, just recently I went out to Palo Alto, and Yvette Gaudin, those two beautiful daughters of hers, Katie and Claire, helped cook a very special pheasant dish. Y'all take a look at this. Yvette, we're sitting here, or I should say standing here, with Claire and, of course, Katie and Yvette Gaudin here at Palo Alto Gun and Rod Club. Now, this beautiful old home was built around, what, the 1950s or something?
1960.
1960. And, you know, I just found out that this was the sister property of my restaurant, Lafitte's Landing in Donaldsonville, Louisiana, when I opened it at the foot of the Sunshine Bridge here in this little area outside of New Orleans. And to think that we're here cooking in the yard of this wonderful place. Now, Palo Alto is a sugar plantation about 60 miles out of New Orleans, right?
Yes.
This hunting club is mainly about land game birds, right? What kind of birds do they hunt here?
We hunt quail, pheasant, and chukars, and we also hunt deer.
Right.
Here.
Now, quail is native to Louisiana, but of course, chukar and pheasant is a little bit north of Shreveport, more like Iowa or somewhere like that.
So we farm raised.
Yes, so they farm raised birds. Now, look, I want everybody to see this because this is absolutely beautiful. This is pheasant that y'all actually got this morning, right? And I understand that Katie here was the big hunter today, so she got a couple. They're beautiful birds with nice snowy white meat. We're going to go ahead and season them. Why don't you hold on to this, because I'm going to have them turn around. A little salt, a little pepper like this, and a little granulated garlic. And I would rub them a little bit, and then you just want to season. You can turn them over. And this is kind of one of those things that just about anything goes well with. I can see fruit, mandarin, apples, any of that kind of stuff,
any
right?
vegetable.
Any good vegetable. So I'm going to go ahead a little more salt. Now, I could flour them, but we're going to braise these in red cabbage. So I'm going to put them into my cast iron skillet. By the way, this skillet is about 100 years old here, so I'm going to move this around. Now, Katie, you kind of stir that around. Now, the red cabbage, because it's going to go on a bed of red cabbage. Put my oil in there if you would. See that little cup of oil? Just dump it down in there. Now, look what I have here. You talk about seasoning, onions, cinnamon sticks, brown sugar, raisins, apples. Why don't you go ahead and dump all of that down in there? By the way, you can put about half of it, I guess. And then, the apples, go ahead and throw those in as well. Now, this is a really wonderful flavor for pheasant, right?
Yeah,
all the fruit flavor. Now, you find the technique of cooking them best as braising, or put them in the oven in a stew? Tell me about the cooking
Braising
texture.
is wonderful. There's not a lot of fat on the pheasant, so braising would be wonderful. And then getting them and stewing them down in this pot with vegetables will just be perfect.
Okay, now you go ahead and stir that around a little bit. I'm going to add the currant, because we're looking for a little sweet here. I'm going to add the raisins to it. I'm going to add brown sugar like that to it. You can turn those over, Kate, and just get them done. I'm just trying to brown them a little bit. And while you're doing that, I'm going to come in with the red cabbage, about half of this bowl. Just kind of mix that well. And then I'm going to put in the red wine. Just stir it to blend well, because this is going to go into the oven. I'm going to add a little stock to it, like that. And just kind of smooth it out. We don't have to cook it too much. Oh, those are great. Now I'm going to put them right in here. They go into a 350-degree oven for about 2.5 hours, right?
Yes.
A little more stock. And y'all, when they come out of that hot oven, this is exactly what they look like. Just take a look at those beautiful pheasants. And how tender. Look, I can just pull the meat right off of the bone. Absolutely beautiful. Now we're going to put a lid on it in the oven, and it's done, right?
Yes.
Thanks for killing those birds for me today, huh? Thanks for bringing them to the skillet. Thank y'all for cooking with us at Palo Alto Gun and Rod Club. Thank y'all so much. Wasn't that a great red cabbage and pheasant dish that the girls and Yvette did, huh? That was beautiful. No, that was beautiful. Y'all smell it, huh? I tell you, I have a wonderful, wonderful guest sitting at the counter with me right now, who made this beautiful pottery, Mr. Craggs himself. Tell me about, we were discussing the pottery earlier. Now, you came from England because y'all developed a business here. Tell us a little bit, first of all, about the origin of your pottery company.
It started off because my son-in-law and daughter came over here 10 years or more ago to assist in the management of a company. That company closed and they started to import the ware, and Peter and I spoke, and we thought it would be a good idea if we could produce the pottery in a traditional type of way that enhanced the art within the pottery rather than applying art to the pottery, which is done an awful lot today.
Right.
Pottery came into being and grew up with the art of cooking. If you go back many thousands of years, when people were simply hunter-gatherers, the amount of pottery around was very, very small indeed. A few coil pots, that's all. When people started to farm and they were more settled, then the need to be able to heat food on a fire, grains and herbs and spices and meats, then pottery was the only thing that they could do it with.
Right.
Metal wasn't around then.
Right. And to put it off to the side of the fire, just as we do in the rotisserie, and just kind of warm things. Well, Deep South Pottery, y'all, in Jackson, Mississippi, just beautiful. And all the platters and everything, even this gorgeous platter here, take a look at it. The beautiful square platter with just a little hints of color, because normally they were all earth tone in those days. So I'm having a little skillet here. I'm going to do a pasta of pheasant. Y'all ready? Just a little simple. Oh, yeah, right here into the skillet, and I'm going to season the pheasant. Oh, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't seem like y'all interested in this dish, huh? Yeah, y'all were just kind of quiet when I said a little pepper, a little salt, a little granulated garlic, some fresh herbs down into it. Or herbs, as we say in the sister country over there. A little bit garlic, y'all, again. When you have pheasant that has fallen to the ground in 2 hours in Louisiana, heat a lot of garlic. Let me put more in there. More garlic in. Now, pecans, pine nuts, all of those wonderful things down. Oh, yeah. You see, I'm feeling the love out there now. That's I really am. I'm hearing that you're responding to this pheasant dish. Before you were saying pasta, spaghetti. That's what I was getting that from you a minute ago. So anyway, I'm going to stir fry this for just a second here. Now, Yvette, we had a great time cooking that pheasant over there, didn't we?
We did.
Huh?
Yes.
Now, how many, all those birds brought in and pen raised over there until the hunt at Palo Alto?
Yes. Yes.
And chucker as well?
Quail, chucker, and pheasant.
Yeah,
Yes.
so all of the different birds. Huh? And people, of course, sign up for hunts there, and they can go in, they can get some of these birds. I'm lucky. They just bring them to me. I don't have to go hunt. Huh? Well, at least this time they did. I don't know if that's going to happen again. But anyway, hey, thank y'all so much for doing that for us. Okay, I'm going to come back in here, y'all, with just a little bit of sun-dried tomatoes. Oh, yeah, sun-dried tomatoes. This is a pheasant pasta. I don't know if you go home in the afternoon, you look in the refrigerator, and you say, you know what, I think I'll do a pasta tonight, pheasant. I think I'll do pheasant. Yeah, that sounds good, huh? Well, yeah, that's what you should do sometimes. Because if you kill it, you need to eat it, right? No matter what it is, don't go out there and kill something and then decide, well, I'm going to give it away to a neighbor. If you do that, call me. Let me give you my phone number. Put it up on the screen. Okay, now a little bit game stock. A little bit cream reduction in here. And oh yeah, this is beautiful. I'm going to just, remember, once you put the cream and all of that in, you want to season it up just a little bit more. That's going to reduce beautifully here. And y'all take a look right here what it looks like when it's all said and done, huh? Jim, what do you think, huh? Katie, you did a caramel roll for me. Come back here. We're going to show everybody about the caramel roll. That's a beautiful finished dish. I can put a little, I'm going to put a little cheese on there. Huh? All right there, huh? There. Now, Katie, you bring that right here. You got the powdered sugar. Look at a caramel roll, Katie. Katie is Yvette's daughter, and Claire is too, right in the front row, right there with that big smile on her face. Look at dust this really nicely. Just like, while I put, you do that, and so I don't feel embarrassed, I'll put cheese on the pasta. Okay. All right, y'all, here it is right here. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thanks for the pottery. What a gorgeous, no, absolutely, y'all. Deep South Pottery, Bowie Outfitters, Yvette with Palo Alto, my buddy right here with the wonderful caramel roll. Y'all, thanks so much for joining us in the swamps of Louisiana. And remember that man's love affair with hunting is not about the kill. It's not about the skill. It's all about the fabulous feast served in beautiful pottery. And I'll see you next time right here on A Taste of Louisiana. Katie and I will. See y'all next time.
To purchase the After the Hunt cookbook by Chef John Folse, an After the Hunt t-shirt or program DVD, call the number on your screen. Funding for After the Hunt with Chef John Folse is brought to you by the Baton Rouge Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Day is dawning on the Mississippi River and the sun is shining on Baton Rouge. Attractions, shopping, food, and Southern hospitality you know and love. Go BR and go brighter. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting. Our mission is to tell Louisiana's story to the world. And by the Louisiana Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. Vacation planning guides are available at louisianatravel.com. You wait all year for your vacation. Don't sleep through it.